These people are trying to play back psychology, but Kenyans, we are no longer fools. Thank you, Kibe.
Thank you, Lema. Appreciate it. Leroy, what's up?
First of all, Lema kuna statement amesema hapo mwisho before atoke ati Kenyans are no longer fools. Kenyans are still fools as fuck.
We shall never stop being fools.
Fools as fuck, Kibe. Eh. Lakini unajua aitwaje? Ya, Sultan amesema kuna hiyo tunajaribu kugeneralize kitu. But for Kibet, when Kimani Chunga was saying, mse amekuwa kwa hoteli. See, we called them, this is just a woman. It's a woman. But again, Sultan kuna hapo mali alikuwa when Sultan was saying about this whole thing is a game. For Kibet now you can see it's a game. But some other people get caught in between. We don't know the truth again. We cannot come into conclusions, Kibet. Watu wote unajua sometimes ni we are saying they cannot be a threat to the presidency. Yes. Ati juu amepost hizi the president in a coffin. Hiyo some things you have to be unachukuliwa unaenda unafunzwa manners. Hey, you are posting the president in a coffin. We take you, we go teach you manners and we deliver you back. But again, tunakuja tena kujiuliza, yesterday hii maandamano ilikuwa ya 6th. Who was planning it? Nani alikuwa na plan hii maandamano ya 6th? Because let's be honest, it was not a real maandamano from anywhere. And then you tell me, look at who was pushing that maandamano for 6th. Number one, memes niliona sana ni Osama. Bro, and nobody is going with this story. The public is not going with the story of maandamano on 6th. But that 6th again is the same day. Everybody is being released. Kibe, somebody is playing me.
Sasa wewe ndio donkey. You're the donkey, my guy. You're the donkey. Wewe sasa ndio tunakutumia. We are riding you.
Exactly.
How dare? Yenyewe pia sisi ni wajinga. Na unaona watu watatuma za cabbage. Watatuma vile walitumia ile poko anaitwaje? Hanifa.
And then akina mtu aje Mudhoni the drama queen now with that after Hanifa ametumwa do and the way she was distributing money to all these people who are in hospital. Bro, I had Mudhoni the drama. She went on a podcast, the podcast that she went on a mic check. Oh, you know now Hanifa is like NHIF. She is a whole institution. We should actually give her the job.
Let me tell you, this weakness, it congregates so fast. It is disgusting. It is disgusting to witness. This weakness congregates. These people know they have been conned. All of them, they know they have been conned. Bro, none of these boys came back even with a slap on the face. Mimi sasa ishi kwa na makarao when I was in high school. Tulikuwa tumerusha mawe tukavunja dirisha ya basi. As long as you're behind the line, you're a criminal. So the cops would come in, the ones who are coming in from their duties or whatever. They walk in and they say, wamefanya nini? Walivunja dirisha ya basi. The guy slaps you. He does not know you. He was not the arresting officer. He slaps you right there and then. Pop! He was not the arresting officer. Yeah. By the time you're going back home, bro, I never ever wanted to look at another conductor in the eyes ever again. You want to tell me you have the energy to do a press conference after being abducted for those many days? Hey, please. Please. I have been alive for too long to know when I'm being played. Motherfucker. You see, these are not the days of old when there was no internet, there was no verification, there are no other people to use their brains. Because before it was just the mainstream media telling you what to think. And there's no other place for you to go to take your opinion. What's up?
Morning, Kibe.
Morning, my guy.
Yo, I think we might have an idea about this abduction thing. And if you remember last year, we spoke about the 4 pillars of Project 2025 and it'll begin 2024. Then Kibe, link it with what happened yesterday with the abduction thing and the way it was planned. And then if you look at yesterday's magazine on Standard, it said GMO maize to hit your plate after the end of public participation. And I went through that article. These guys are saying they already did public participation. And Kibe, if you remember, in 1700s, the French Revolution, French used the church to pass bad laws, right? Then there's a magazine on the 19th of December 2024 last year. That is the Star magazine. That last December. Researchers take GMO sensitization to church. Now, if you link all these things together with what happened yesterday, because we were kept busy with abduction, and then this thing was published yesterday on the 6th, that GMO has been approved, so it will be released to the market for the next 10 years. Now, the plan was to take over our land. The plan was to take over our education, and you can see grade 9 and grade 8, there's a shit ton of confusion. It's not going to work. The plan was also to take over our financial system. There's also a magazine, Kibe, here on the 19th of December 2024. 10 again, this is Business Daily, says homes and churches overtake banks in treasury bills. NGOs, churches have for the first time overtaken banks on holding treasury bills, riding on higher returns and changes that allowed purchase of government paper via mobile phones. So you see venye kitu inaingizwa pole pole. You see, we are being kept busy, but the major thing, and we know that we are moving into the quantum science, quantum financial system, everything is going to be digital. So as they keep us busy, they are taking over our financial system, the food system, our land and education, and who is going to control it? So now we are focused on Gachagua and all this nonsense to do with politics and everything. But the real thing is happening behind our, below our noses. So this is the main thing, and I have no doubt.
So you think this is a government psyop?
Exactly. So we need to be watchful. You tell me why they published this thing yesterday. And yesterday kulikuwa na hiyo mambo na maandamano. Yesterday kulikuwa na mambo na the release of abduction on the 6th. And this magazine, it's on the 6th by Fred Kagonye from Standard magazine. So we need to mali tuweke macho yetu, our land, our financial system, our education. This BC shit has to go. These guys want to program our kids to behave like slaves.
But Kwame, who are we to do all this? Si tume-elect watu wafanye kazi.
No, they're not gonna do it.
You see, the thing is this: I don't want to have to be under pressure to do oversight.
Mm-hmm.
If these people are not working for us, why are we having them there? You get what I'm saying?
So, yes.
Either they're working for us or we get the jobs ourselves. But how can we have these people working for us and yet we still have to do oversight? Kumaanisha, these are not Kenyans. We agree, hawa si wa Kenya, hawa wametoka place ingine na ndio kwa maana they are taking over our country. But if they are working for us, shouldn't we? Ni kama sasa ukiwa na wochi. Ukiwa na wochi uenda kufuatilia kazi wochi anafanya. Si kazi yako ni kulala. You sleep because there's somebody who's taking care of their business. How come we have legislators who don't take care of our business? What is that about?
These guys are taking 10%. And also that's something I saw in the magazine the other day. KRA staffs are complaining. These guys wanabadilisha staffs chini ya maji. And remember, we had a conversation with you the other time, last year, that kuna organization, the same organization that wants to take over our country, kuna venye walikuwa na train their KRA agents, and kuna kumbuka immigration imetola where it was, and we don't even know where it is. We don't know what has been happening. Then you again connect it with the refugees. So this is just a big operation, So all this distraction to do with government, politics, abductions, it is to take our eyes away from the main thing, our properties. We are sitting on over 100 trillion Kenyan shillings worth of minerals, and we are being made to focus on things that really don't matter to us. So that is the game here. These are CIA agents in our governments. They are not our people. Hawa ni wazungu wamevaa suit ya black. That's the thing here.
All right. Thank you, Kwame. Today is going to be a very short space. I don't want us to waste time here talking too long. Oromo Republic, what are your thoughts this morning? On these abductions? Hey, it's good I didn't believe that shit. It's good I didn't believe it. I will sleep happier tonight.
Kibe, uliona vile sura zao zilikuwa zimeng'ara.
Hey bro, wako na haircut mpya bana.
Kibe, mimi nilitoa sale hapa in Australia for one night. Nilitoka siku ya pili.
Ulitoka umepaint.
Nimeumwa na umbu. Sura mzima ilikuwa kama dartboard. My whole hand ilikuwa kama dartboard. Yaani ilikuwa imedungwa dunga. Hizo umbu ni kubwa kama size ya almost these boys. Hata kama wameadaptiwa. Where were they put? Were they put in cell ama in a hotel room? Because they look like walikuwa wameshawa, wamepaka lotion na Vaseline. They were so even the trouser.
Uko na nguvu ya kuongea.
Ole angalia trouser imepigwa pasi iko na line.
You have the energy to talk after being abducted. There is nothing like that. Aditao yuko amepigwa line.
Trouser imepigwa pasi iko na line. What do you call when you flag? Nikasema kweli mchezo wa town hii. It looks like
kuna time nilishikwa ile story ya nini? Story ya alcohol.
Okay.
Nilikuwa nimelewa sana. Nikapelekwa cell pale Kilima, pale karibu na Nairobi, Kenyatta Hospital.
Okay.
You know that police station there?
Yeah, it was like a police station.
And I spent like maybe 6 hours there. Only 6 hours. And by the time I was getting released, first hujapiga shower. Haujaenda choo because huwezi enda hiyo choo yao. So hiyo choo iko hapo. So when I got to the cell was so packed. The only place that had a space was next to the loo. So when guys were peeing, I could feel the pee droplets on my feet, because now what are you supposed to do? You have to sit. There's nowhere else you can sit. And by the time we're getting released, I did not want to talk to anyone. The first thing I wanted to do was go back home, take a good shower, rest, and pretend like that motherfucker never ever happened.
I know.
Like pretend like you guys for a whole day just disappear and don't want to anything. Bro, I didn't have energy to give that story on that day.
You know, even my cousin, when she came and released me, she said, you are not going to enter in my car. I'll either get to your Uber or I get to a boda boda.
Unanuka.
Unanuka. Because that floor is cold. Hakuna blanketi. Hata hizo blanketi zitaka kujifunika nazo. Umbu ndo hao wamekudunga. So you come out of there, you're so filthy.
Tired.
So I'm looking
you're so tired. You're finished, bro. You don't have the energy to go out there and now give a nice press conference.
Na alienda disco Matanga, alikuwa kuna nguvu pia.
So ameenda disco Matanga na bado wako na energy ya kukaa kutuambia I'm okay, and tell us where you are, how long you are there, who abducted you, what you saw. Give us details. That's the bullshit.
Because the two guys who were abducted, the two brothers who were abducted, the one is Kiserian, then they gave us a whole narration of how they were tortured. But their stories are at least authentic. At least those ones were abducted. The boys who were abducted during the Maandamano, I don't know if you remember those two boys who were released much later.
No, I don't remember that story. I didn't follow it up.
They narrated their story. Their story was horrific, actually. They can even feel on their voice when they are speaking. It was a really, really torture. But out of these boys, no, this was choreographed properly. And the timing.
Kuna mzee hapa amesemaje? But isn't Kibe now with UDA? I saw him praising Ruto the other day and it smelled like a payday loan.
Where did you praise Luto?
You see, these punies don't know the art of communication. Ndio kwa maana kila kitu unafanya, they'll always misconstrue it for one thing or the other.
Wako na feelings.
It's always dealing is in Nongwe. These people they are brainless. Why deal with them? These are brainless motherfuckers. So there's not mtu akisha decide amekuhate, hakuna kitu twaifanya. Akisha decide hivi because the hate is what keeps them going. Without that hate, they disintegrate. Take away the hate. That person doesn't exist.
So Kibe, as Kibe, where do you see the Gen Z movement heading to? We are heading to 2027. Are they going to make an impact in 2027?
If they have any brains, they need to submit their will to somebody. If they have any brains, they need to submit their will because they have the numbers.
But numbers is not enough if you don't have somebody to lead you.
That's the thing. They need to submit their will. Waache kujifanya wanajua, hakuna kitu wanajua. Their time is going to come, but for now they need to submit. I told them that from day one. You need to submit yourselves to somebody. Ndio learn. Otherwise, wewe ukiwa mjuaji, what are you going to get from that? Hakuna. You ujuaji wako nayo hii hakuna pali nawapeleka. So what they're going to do, and this is what's going to happen, is they're going to be weaponized.
By who?
By anybody. All you need to do is just give them the emotional angle. Make them emotional and you can weaponize them very fast.
So they react with emotion.
They react to the emotions because of poor upbringing. So they do not know how to take no. They have been told yes all their life.
Because even yesterday we were having the same conversation with this, my young guys in the Gen Z. They say Ruto is going the next generation. I asked them, who is replacing him? Because for him to go, there must be a very strong opposition. Somebody who is standing now, who is campaigning now, who has a stand
now.
Who can threaten. Right now, that he's going to the Mashinani, he's going to talk to Mama Mboga, he's going to take the people in the village. Because all where we are seeing in the social media, how many people in the social media? It's very few people. I don't think it is even 10% of the population of Kenya. So we think everybody has the information, but you'll be very shocked. People in Mashinani, they have no idea what is happening. The only they hear is rumors, because rumors is what is propaganda.
Where tulienda na wewe a couple of places. Huko nje, remember when I started this. Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I thought Twitter was everything. X, X ndio mambo yote. So when I started the Right 47, I used to post on X and then everywhere else next. Then I realized, watu huko nje hawajui X ni nini. Wanajua Facebook.
Yeah.
So hii outrage yetu hapa is very, very limited. Outrage is not even important outrage. It's such a limited thing. It doesn't make sense. Huko nje watu, they don't recognize that, bro. Na mukiendelea hivyo, Ruto will rule till 2050.
He knows how to play the game. Hata juzi nikakwambia, I think propaganda pays. I think propaganda now pays, because now it looks the people who are propaganding are the ones who are benefiting, whether from the government or the opposition.
Kabisa. Sasa lazima uingie propaganda.
Kibe, there's something here I need to tell you. Larry has just posted something here. Hooded men with guns were back on the streets of Nairobi yesterday riding in a police car from station I've never heard of. You see, this is the way to socially program a society. Wanataka kuweka hizi vitu zikuwe like they are normal each and every time. So it becomes a normal thing to zoe nayo, ambapo in future, if Kibe says something that the government doesn't want, you just disappear. So we know that this is part of the society. People disappear and there's nothing we do about it. Unaona, this is why I'm the part, but then nilianza ile, I gave the idea on how to deal with these abductors, because Kisumu si tunajuanga. Ukikuja kwa abduct msee, the first thing si tutapasua screen, hata utajua mawe imetoka wapi. Then next the driver ataogopa, atatoa gari anaacha abductors chini. That is when mob wanabaki na hawa wasi. hiyo kitu ndio ilienda ikaleta shida. The pastors who talk here in Kisumu, so they want to make this thing normal, and me, I'm back in Kisumu and I'm telling the youth, we are not going to allow such kind of things in our society.
Wewe Kwame, wacha hizo maneno because you don't know what's happening. Wacha hiyo maneno
Yeah, see,
because
ndio
unajiinvolve stories yenye wewe hujui. Hii ni mchezo ya town, my guy. Come on, if you want to get into politics, get into politics. But don't be there thinking you know what you're doing. You don't know. These are paid actors.
Well, you see, Kibe, the one thing, if you want to protect your country or society, it begins from the inside.
Why would I want to do that?
No, me, I'm saying me. Sisi hapa kwetu, this is how we do things, and we will not allow any abduction in Kisumu.
I don't agree that there's anything like that going on. These are games you guys are playing. Everybody is playing the same game.
Sasa hiyo game they tutaki. We don't want them to normalize
something that we don't know.
We don't want them to normalize such things. That's those games.
Who's them? Who's them? Kibet Bull alikuwa wapi?
Yeah. No, leave alone the Kibet Bulls and the other. I'm talking about these real abductions that happened back then.
Like which ones?
Kama Joshua Okayo was abducted and he was tortured, and there's evidence. You see such things.
No, those are very localized issues.
They are my Luo brothers who have been killed.
Kwame, tuliza. Your story yako makes sense because we don't know who that Joshua guy is. We know Kibet Bull, the con man. Let me bring in senior counsel first. Senior counsel ameingia hapa na ubaya. Ngoja Kwame. George, how are you?
Hello, Kibe.
What's happening?
So there's a very good question that Alim Chiapo just asked you. What do you think is going to be the future of the movement? I mean, history is the best teacher, except for the Gen Zs, because Gen Zs think the world started in 1997 when they were born. But for the rest of us, history is the best teacher. Before there was the Gen Z's movement, what was the other movement before that? I mean, the biggest movement before that, what was it? The repeal of Section 2A, 2B? Is that the biggest movement?
that time of free political prisoners. Remember that time?
The free political prisoners, yes. I am. That's exactly where I want to go. Who? Okay, let's even stay with the free political prisoners. Who benefited from that movement?
Orengo, Gitobu Manyara,
the Kanu orphans.
Ginyo Karaoke.
Ginyo Karaoke, yes.
Merugi Karaoke.
This guy with dreads, he didn't manage to leverage.
This is Koigua Amwere. So, and there was another one with Koigua Amwere. I can't remember his name.
But even the woman, the hummingbird woman, what's her name? Wangari Maathai. She benefited very heavily from that movement.
Yes.
She was even given an assistant ministerial post.
So now we cannot count 10 people that benefited from that movement. That was my point.
Yeah, I see what you say.
We are struggling to come to 10 people.
Yeah.
Because even Charles Rubia and Kennedy Matiba did not benefit from the movement.
But Matiba disrupted the movement because he was the one who was brought to this.
Let's just stay in the movement, not the aftermath of it. Let's just stay in the movement.
George IQ, as you talk about, by the way, the movement thing. Remember back then, these guys didn't have the social media we have today.
And what is the relevance of that?
Well, you guys have been making noise on X, and you can see what you guys have done within these couple of months. Isn't that something to be proud about?
I have no idea where you're going with this. Help me understand you. I only have 1.5
No, I'm saying the movement this time has gone. It's being done in 3 level, kind of. Now, street, constitution, and also using social media. You see, that's how the movement is taking shape.
Movement? What movement?
Kwame, you'll be surprised.
You
It's
know,
not about Kwame.
I can. So let's go to 1944 with Eliud Mathu. That was the very first member of the Legislative Council in London from Kenya. Do you think the current movement has more leverage and it has more coverage than the agitation for an African to represent Kenya at the Legislative Council? You think they could have achieved something different if there was Twitter?
Well, back
Those
then there was
guys,
also
those
something.
those those guys made more gains in 1944 than the nigger class Gen Zs will ever make, even if they were given 100 years.
It's fine. What I'm saying
The
is back
Mau,
then
the
those
Mau,
guys.
the Mau Mau people, if you want to believe the story of the Mau Mau, the way it is told objectively, they achieved more than your wildest dream in 2024. But that is not the conversation here. The conversation is, out of every movement, how many people benefit from it? And we were in 1990, and we cannot count 10 people that benefited from the protest of the repeal of Section 2A, 2B, and the subsequent release political prisoners movement that came out of it. We are comparing, because the question was from Ali, what is the future of the Gen Z movement? History is the teacher. We look back, 1990, what was the future of that movement? The group that Moite and Orengo and Imanyara and Mirugi Kariuki belong to used to be called Young Turks. Give me another name of the people in the Young Turks beside the four I have mentioned. That silence is what is going to happen to the Gen Z movement.
Well, that's what I told you. No, you're not listening. You're not listening. You're using the past where you can change you can look at the past and you see what you missed. What you missed and what can you do to rectify what you missed and make it better in the future. That is what I'm talking about. You are talking about the past as if we're supposed to copy paste it. Is it that what you're talking
Are
about?
you
We're not supposed to copy
are
paste
you
it.
are,
We're
are you
supposed
a
to
Gen Z?
analyze the past.
Are you a Gen Z?
I'm a millennial. I'm a younger millennial.
You and Gen Z, same what's up. Your generation is not interested in the history. Your
Well,
generation is not
I'm one of
interested.
the guys. I'm one of the guys who lost his brothers. Kawota Mali Raila alikuwa anapiga kelele. So I'm telling you what I understand about these things, these movement
So
things.
what you lost a brother? Was he yours to keep?
5 of them.
What is this nonsense of I lost a brother? Was he yours to keep? He died
Well,
in whatever
so,
circumstances he died in. He was not
but
yours to keep.
haven't I answered what you're asking for?
No, because now you are using the death of your brother as some woye, you know, step in your life, in your movement for, I don't know what kind of liberation you are fighting for. Your brother was not yours to keep. You did not
Okay,
lose your brother.
what
Your
is the
brother
point? I
dropped
think I've
dead.
answered you. I think I've answered you for you to rectify what you're doing now. Look at what you guys did in the past and what you guys missed that time. And how you guys can counter using that in the past, in the
Okay.
present, going to the
What,
future.
what did we miss?
And like, that's why I told you. You guys don't see what you guys what Kenyans have done in
No,
the
no, no.
past
Let's
few
let's
months
let's let's stay
using
on
social media.
for the next
Or
5 minutes. Let's stay on what we missed. Just that. Stay on that. Just narrow scope of what we missed.
number one, what we missed is that these guys were doing the divide and rule thing, kind of, right? They have been trying to do the divide and rule since June this year, but we are still holding. As much as we have a couple of people who have betrayed us, we are still moving on with the revolution as it goes. We are keeping in fact, we are now the opposition. The opposition is not doing their work. The MPs are not doing their work. No one is doing their work. It is Kenyans doing their work. Something that Kenyans were supposed to have done since that 1945 thing. Are we not doing it? Are we not speaking? We are speaking. That is something. If you see nothing in that, then bro,
Okay, let's stay on divide and rule. You mean like the one of Francis Gaido?
exactly. And those are things. Those are some people I
I
don't even
mean,
have to
no,
care
no, no,
about.
no, 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 no. You are in what we missed. What we missed in 1990 was we were not united. There was divide and rule between Martin Shikuku, Kenneth Matiba, and Raila's father, Oginga Odega. That is the divide and rule, and Masida Molino. Okay, now in this today, isn't that divide and rule embodied in Francis Gaido? Isn't that divide and rule embodied? Siro kidogo. Wacha nimalize sentence yangu. Isn't that divide and rule embodied in small boy Boniface Mwangi? Isn't that divide and rule embodied in what you perceived Cairo was? Isn't that divide and rule characterized in Hanifa? I hear you all accusing her of saying you can protest anywhere else, but don't touch State House, and you take that one as the divide and rule. No,
You are speaking about their views, not my views. Our view is we are fighting for a country that has been
yeah,
bedeviled
we
by
are talking
people.
about Masita Murilo's views. We are
Forget
talking about
about
Martin
these guys who
Shikuku's
have.
view.
Forget about these guys who have moved away
Forget.
from the movement.
There is
You
nothing to
focus
learn
on
from
what we are
history.
doing now. You are telling me to
We
focus
are.
on Anifa. What does Anifa has to do with me?
There you go.
You see,
Kibe,
I'm not focused
before
on Anifa.
before subiri kidogo, subiri kidogo. Kibe, before Ali asked you this pertinent question, what was your comment before that? These people are not interested in learning anything. Forget about Hanifa. Forget about Masida Molino. Forget about Gaido. Forget about Martin Shikuku.
But
Yeah,
George,
let's forget.
why should I be fighting for Anifa while I am a Kenyan and individual and I have a right and I have an ID and I have document to fight for something that is not going to benefit? I'm supposed to fighting for all of us.
What are
So
you
I'm doing
fighting?
my part. Anifa is doing
What are
their
you?
part and those guys are doing their part.
But the context here in 1990, there was divide and rule.
It was divide and rule, and that is why it has not worked until 2024 last year. And this time, it is the people who are united.
Divide and rule
So it is the
after the
politicians
first.
who are divided. The people are united this time. That is the difference. If you can't see it,
Which people are united?
well, you are about to see what is going to happen in the next 2 months. You wait and see.
We are always waiting to see something on the next Monday. On the
Exactly. Where
next
you
Monday.
wait and
On the
see.
next Monday.
Exactly.
On the next
Exactly.
Monday. On the next Monday.
Exactly.
On the next Monday. Sidio? But you are
Well,
doing better because there is Twitter, there is Facebook, and there is. You are doing better than Laila Odinga in 1982. You are doing better than Shikuku and Matiba and Rubia in
Kibe,
1990.
can you take
You
over?
are doing better.
Huyu jamaa amenirudisha kwa history zingine zenye they don't make sense to me.
Yeah,
They
they
don't make
don't.
sense in today.
I am
Today they will not help
100%
you.
sure
Those
they
history
don't
will
make
not
sense.
help you because the same people who are involved are the same people who are oppressing you today. So how is that history going to help you, bro?
Do you know why they have generals lead wars instead of cadets?
For me, nimekuuliza, the same people who took over are the same people oppressing you today. What are you doing you today instead of complaining? I see you're
Oh,
complaining a lot.
George NGNGA. Is that the question? Is that your question?
And that's why I've asked you, the
No, no,
people
no.
who took
Slow down,
over
slow
are
down, slow
oppressing
down,
you
slow down.
today.
Slow down. You want to talk about me? Let's go
You are
there.
singing, okay, you are singing to me about those guys. Why don't you tell,
No,
they are
no,
the
no.
people oppressing you
Answer the
today.
question I'm asking you. Are you asking me, George NGNGA, what I am doing? Is that a real question?
I don't know what you're doing unless you tell me.
No, I'm asking you, is that what you are asking me as a
It's
real
a
question?
rhetorical. It's a rhetorical, bro. So
Ah,
when
you are
you
not
don't even get these
interested. You
things.
are not interested in the answer. I see what you did there.
George, thank you a lot.
For what? So, where are we, Kibe? What is the future of the movement, of the Gen Z movement? And we were in 1990. what was the future of the movement in 1990? The only person that transformed themselves from the young Turks, from the freedom fighters, if you want to call them, from this guy agitating for change, the only person who transformed themselves into a statesman, James Orengo. Nobody else. Nobody else. Gitobui Manyara, the moment Rusi Kibaki went to Nation newspaper and held a newspaper like this, Gitobui Manyara disappeared. Koigo Wamwere, with all the support of the Scandinavian countries' money, when he came back, he could not transform himself into a statesman. He couldn't. He tried. I think Koigo Wamwere is the case study of what happens to leaderless, headless group of people. People who do not have a solid, cemented backbone on that which it is they are seeking. In Koiguamuere's countryside, out there on the outskirts of Nakuru, they only voted for him once. They were like, Gekeneke. I think at some point he was even given as assistant minister for something. He couldn't transform himself because the anger was too much. Now look at the Gen Zs. They cannot even have a civil conversations. They truly believe the conversations are insults, and insults are conversations. Beyond that, nothing. The anger is way too much. It blinds them. Paul Moite, he became member of parliament of Kikuyu. Well, he was a young member of parliament of Kikuyu at the time. He could not transform himself. His own people rejected him and voted some offshoot commoner to replace him in Kikuyu before it was divided into Kabete and whatever it is now. So what is going to happen to the Gen Z movement? The same thing that happened to the Young Turks. The same thing that happened to Raila's effort to overthrow the government in 1982. If I give you Raila's name and I give you what was the guy they nyongad? Hezekiah Ochuka. And I give you the other one, Otieno Makanyango from Alego. Give me anybody else. Makanyango, Hezekiah Ochuka, Raila Odinga. The 1982 movement to overthrow Moi's government. Do you know anybody else? Kapenguria 7. One moment. One moment, Kibe. One moment. Kapenguria 7. It's called Kapenguria 7 for a reason. It's only 7 of them. I'll give you Kenyatta, I'll give you Pogay, I'll give you Makanyango. Give me anybody else you remember from Kapenguria 7. That is what is going to happen to this movement. Chances are the only person you're going to remember is Kasamuel. Because he had an early insight to position himself with the people inside of the system, people inside of the government. I was going to call him Makanyango. Kasamuel is probably the only person we are going to remember of the Gen Z movement 10 years from today. Kibe, you are going to say something.
I was actually going to read a tweet by one of your nemesis. But yes, Kasmuel is going to be one of the few. And if Morara doesn't join these people soon enough, he might also disappear. But your brother, you call him what? Afro loser nigger centric. How do you say it?
Yeah, that yes. What is the tweet?
It says this is a very foolish space. Kwani hawa wanaishi Kenya gani? Kipe and George low IQ must be looking for work from Itumbi to push such foolish narratives on spaces. This is an insult to all the Kenyan youths that have lost their lives to this rogue government, and I think there's something else. And the youth still missing. What are your thoughts on that?
So number one, he is here listening to the foolish space. Let that sink in. He is here listening to this foolish space. Number two, that which I was going to benefit from Itubi. This is a formal appeal to Itubi. Please cancel my name, George NGA, and in its place, put the name Afro Loser Nigger Centric. What was going to be paid to me, pay it to Afro Loser Nigger Centric. Kwinodoge. Iko kitu ingine. Mimi, I'll continue to work for Itubi, but I don't want to be paid. I want Afro Loser Nigger Centric to be paid instead. If this is work, because one thing you are not going to do, you are not going to silence me with my opinion. My opinion and my asshole, one and the same thing. You have those two also. So my opinion, you are not going to censor. But payment, I donate all of it to you. Sikezi measure. Kwino doge.
What are this Komatanga? Who else is here? Let's see. DJ. DJ, one more time. Okay, let's go here. Oromo, you've not said anything. Are you here? And one thing you guys should know is that this space, when I open my spaces, I am open to both negative and positive responses. So if Afro-centric, you are here, you can come in and give us your views. You don't have to feel bad about it. Just come here and tell us, oh, you guys are this and that. I have no problem with that. In fact, I invite it. I'm tired of listening to George always saying giving his thoughts. Yeah.
I'm tired of listening to myself also.
Ali.
Yeah. But George said when he was having a conversation with Kwame said the movement by then on the history, it did not make any impact because they did not have social media. When the repealing of Section 2A, actually, I was caught up in that fracas. People were coming from Kamukunji ground where tear gas were being thrown. And this movement made a very big impact. The whole country, they wanted multi-party. You could have seen how the reaction was all over. And this time, there was no Facebook, no Instagram, no nothing. That movement was so strong to a point that even it shook the whole sitting president, Moi, who was very powerful. So this movement, what they have now, is only in the social media. And it's only maybe the Gen Zs, the ones who have internet, and the ones who are in the app. If you remember that, I'm sure you were in the country.
Yes, I remember 100%.
You remember how that movement strong it was?
There has never,
when they were
bro, in Kenya, there's never been a stronger movement than repeal Section 2A. The second one was banana versus orange, didn't you?
Yeah, that referendum.
Yes.
The way the opposition won that referendum. And that time there was no social media. So I don't know what Kwame is talking about, where it's only the Gen Zs who are fighting the government, where they have no leader, they have nobody who is guiding them to the right direction. So until such time that they come up with strong people with strong mindsets, with strong vision of showing people where they're heading, we can back them. But at the moment, we're just seeing spoiled boys who are just angry out of nothing just because they have been told somebody of theirs has been abducted, some of them has been killed, something they need to change, they want Ruto to go, but to go where? And who is going to remove him from that seat? That is my biggest question. So how are we supposed to support them if they're acting out of their feelings? Because this is not supposed to be feeling, this is supposed to be logical thing. We want this out and we want this other guy in, and this guy has better better pointers. That's why we need him in that seat better than the one who is sitting now. At the moment, we don't see anybody because we see the person who was supposed to fight Ruto was Raila, but Raila has already crossed over, and we thought Uhuru will sort of back the Kenya, but Uhuru has also bought the bandwagon. We've seen the Kanu is all in the government, so we don't see anybody stronger to come and defeat Ruto in 2027. This guy is going to have a landslide victory, whether he rigs, whether if people don't vote him, he's going to have a landslide. He's going to be in the next 5 years. So we'll just sit. Utasema tutafanya nini our asses? Kibe, your famous say, what do you do with us? Tuzipake mafuta, tugoje tudinywe.
Paka siage, my guy. Paka siage.
Ali has to dog whisper to his gay characteristics. Gay Ali. Closet ni ya nguo Ali. Come out.
Toka nje. Toka nje bwana. Toka nje. Toka nje.
But that is a fact.
Aya, Nubian King, nimeona umekimbia hapa mbio sana.
We, Kibe, happy new year manze.
Hizo iziliisha bro.
Manze, bado tuko tu ni tarehe
Sasa tunangoja
5
tu inauguration ya Trump bro. Anything else is a lie.
Manze, si wachana tuongoje huo rezo tuone venye atatupeleka juu. So, mtu kama Ali, yeye ni mzae, alafu vijana wakifanya mistake, Ali anakuja anasema ati sahi sasa vijana unajua hakuna kitu yenye tunafanya, ati hakuna kitu yenye anafanya na kuweka leader. Ye kama wazae wanafanya nini? Unacheki? Kitu moja ni aje. Okay, mimi nitaweza kubali nisemaje. Unaona ni aje? Hii movement haiwezi songa mbele kama ni watu wa social media ndio wanakuja kama ni watu wa social media tindi yao ndio wanasongesha movement. Lazima kukuwe na mtu wa political leader. Na political leader kitu mimi ninasema ni aje. Si hakuna ati mtu kama wakina Osama, ati Gaido, ati ama nani atakuja tuongoze. Ni msemo mwenye anazoea political kwa sababu politics is a dirty game, na lazima kukuwe na mtu mwenye kukuwe na mtu mwenye ako kwa politics, anajua venye politics inacheza, na hivyo ndio iko. So far maybe wameidentify Okiya Mtata, maybe hiyo ni kitu ninasema maybe. Lakini kitu yenye mimi niko sad nayo ni kusikia wazae kama kina Ali ni kama hata wenyewe wame lose hope. Ile design yenye wanasema ni aje. Okay, kwa hii politics ni kama sasa majenzi sasa ndio hao wenyewe sasa wana fight na politics, wanasema ati sasa hii movement haiwezi, so tuongoje ati hao wase wachague mtu mwenye mwenye ataongoza waende mbele, ati kwa sahi hakuna kitu anaona. But nyinyi kama wazae, point yenu ni gani? Nyinyi mtawezaje director watoi wadogo wenye wanajaribu kufind out, wanajaribu kufigure out venye hii politics iko? Nyinyi mtaweza wasaidia aje? So nyinyi kama wazae mmekaa chini kwa box.
Unajua Nubian King, uko na watoi?
Manze, mimi niko na mtu mmoja na ni molested.
Huyo sio wako, fanya DNA wacha uongo
DNA
yako.
kwanza alafu.
Wachana George. George. Okay.
If like me, I have children. So if my son doesn't listen to me, I am done with him. he ceases to be my son. If my own son doesn't listen to me, I am done with him. There's no more business we have. Tunaongea nini? Kama unisikizi, basi wende usikize mwenye unasikiza. It's the same thing we told you from the day one. You young men and women, no, not women. You young men, you are so effeminate. You have your mother's nature. Ndio kwa maana mnafight wanaume. So ukisikia sauti ya mwanaume unakasirika because you're still angry at your father. Ukisikia sauti ya mwanaume unakasirika, una jam because hutaki uambiwe, because you've never ever been under any real authority. So you're not listening.
So
Even now,
so
when you're
Kibe
here,
tuseme,
you're still disparaging. You're still here to bitch. Where is the humility in the youth where they listen to the older people? Because mnaambiwa kitu hapa, do you know who Rubia is? Who Kenneth Matiba is?
sai. Kenneth Matiba sinamjua.
Unamjua kutoka wapi?
Kenneth Matiba bana, nimesoma hadi mariba zake jo.
So the only thing you guys know is what you have been told. You guys have never experienced this. So you're experiencing for the first time. Na jumbo kona tunyege because hai labda kizungu imenoga. Ndio sasa mnaweza ongeleza wazai vile mnataka. But these people, we have seen this game being played before. If you do want to win anything, then you have to take the advice of the older people who have been there. Zamani wako nasemaje, Raila anaweza ona mbali kuliko akiwa amekaa chini kuliko kijana kamekaa juu ya mti. And they were talking about Raila Amolo Odinga.
Okay, so Kibe, listen.
Which information do you have to bring to behave the way you're behaving? Because you're very mannerless.
Okay, so listen to
led by an extremely mannerless fellow.
Wait, nisikie Kibe. So sahi mko ile design sasa au vijana hapana na wacha nikuulizaje. So sahi imebaki ile kwa sababu unajua nchi si yangu peke yangu. Nchi pia ni yako pia. Si hata wewe
sahi imebaki.
Hapana. Sahi imebaki ni aje? Sawa.
I want to direct your question. Go to the
sawa, sahi imebaki ni aje? Okay. Sisi kama yenyewe tulienda hivyo bila kuwasikiza, si ndio? Lakini hakuna ile design yenyewe kama wazae mtasemaje? Sasa wase walishaenda ati kama hao watu hii ati walijifanya wametangulia, alafu design ati sasa tutawaacha wakae hivyo. Na design ni nchi, sisi wenyewe tunaendelea kukomboa sisi wote pia. Hata kama benye hata kama sikia Kibe kwanza, sikia kwa
Mimi kama hapa ati nikusikize tafadhali, please don't waste my time. I'm not here to listen to you. I listen to you guys for a long time and there's nothing new you're telling me. Waswahili usemaje? Mtoto akililia wembe mpe. You guys feel there's a need to liberate the country. Do what you have to do. The same way Mau Mau felt there was a need to liberate. Not everybody was with Mau Mau. Not everybody wanted the country liberated. Some people were happy with the Mzungu. So there are some people who are very happy with the government right now. Not everybody wants liberation. So instead of consolidating and making yourself strong and coming up with real strategies, nyinyi mko kwa emotions, mnajaribu kuwa watu wale hawaja click na nyinyi. No, you look for your own team. Build yourself first. Stop looking at it now to kill everybody else who doesn't agree with you. No.
Lakini Kibe, si nchi ni yangu na yako. Mbona sasa we mbona we umeanza kuja sasa kwa ma feelings?
You don't be a king. Nchi ni yako wewe. Whatever you see wrong with that country, fix it for yourself. I may not see a problem.
Kibe.
Ngoja. George, unataka kusema nini?
I wanted to ask the same question I asked that young guy before. Why are wars led by generals and not cadets? Nubian King, you know why I'm asking you that question. Why is the leadership of a platoon entrusted to a general and not a cadet? Why is that?
Kwa sababu general akona experience. He got experience, he got the teachings, he got the training. You cannot let a cadet leader.
Did he sit at one of those universities on every exit on Thika Road to get the information and the experience? How did he get the
Yes,
experience?
he got the
How
experience.
did the general get the experience?
He got the experience by going through all those stages, right? Like he was a cadet one time, he got to be like a lieutenant, and then he went to be like a second lieutenant, and he was a general. So that means he can lead it because of the experience he went through when he was climbing up the ranks.
In short,
Sindio?
he's been there, done that.
Yeah, that's sure.
What rank are you now in?
Corporal. I'm a corporal.
How did you get there?
I climbed through the ranks. I was getting the experience. I did the training. I passed the training, and they were like, "Okay, this guy is good to go to the next rank," and that's how it is.
Or why you didn't tell them in your Kenyan accent? I have a degree from Kenyatta University and I'm a Gen Z. Give me the rank of corporal and a few coins while at it.
Manze haifanyanga hivyo. Because I had to do like according to the formula yenye wameunda and according to the
So
ranks
there is a formula. There is a formula. There is a formula. No, not just a degree from one of these universities on the exits on Thika Road. I thought that was the qualification. You can speak English, the ones your grandfathers bought from the colonial rule, better than this shrub in Kikuyu. Then you qualify to be a leader. That's not enough. There is a formula, you are saying, to this madness. Why are they rigging this for the Gen Zs? Gen Z should be able to be at the top. Hey, I'm a Gen Z. Look at my birth certificate. I was born after 1997. I am the leader now. I'm sergeant. I know everything. I read it in a lab in Moi University. No? Mbwa nyinyi.
But George, before Honorable talks anything, okay, we realized like we fucked it up, right? Tulikuwa tumeenda kwa street yenyewe, we thought like okay, we would change anything, but we noticed like unajua ni aje manze, hii kitu kumbe venye tulikuwa tunaipeleka kwa speedi kulikuwa na wasee hata walikuwa among us na walikuwa mabetrays walikuwa gava imekuja pia ime infiltrate kama kila kitu but mbona sahii pia inakuwa sasa ni aje nyinyi mnasemaje okay you Gen Zs muliamua kuenda mbele you continue with your own thing badala kwa sababu tumerudi chini you people be like unajua ni aje so this is the way to go hivi na hivi kwa sababu hata kama mimi kama corporal mimi saa zingine nitaweza kuwa nimejaa na ma feelings niko like okay mi ni sniper niambiwe ni aje enda shoot msee alafu aniambie usishoot tu jamaa wacha nini jet ndio ikuje lipue msee na mi niko like hapana I want to make my first kill manze give me ya kushoot nipatie ya kushoot lakini mko like okay hii jet inakuja ilipue at least itaua wasi kibao kuliko wewe utumie hii bunduki yako uue watu wawili na alafu uanze kuwavamia why are you people not saying that you are like okay because we decided Gen Z decided like to go forward tuliamua ati tuende mbele na tufanye hivi vitu yote sahii sasa ni kama okay you guys go and do whatever the fuck you wanna do but nchi ni yangu mimi pia na wewe at the end of the day tunataka to liberate both me and you hiyo ndio kitu shida yenye mi niko naye manze
No, but Kibe anakuambia over and over. Wewe nchi yako ndio inahitaji liberation. Nchi yake haihitaji liberation. Wewe nchi yako ndio inahitaji liberation. When the Mau Maus went to the bush to fight the Muzungu, the Kabas didn't see anything wrong with the Muzungu. The coast people didn't see anything wrong with the Muzungu. That was the Kikuyu's problem. You do you, bro. You do you. At the very least, you are going to inherit Kenya the way Jomo Kenyatta inherited Kenya. Ama, there should be a reward to this thing. Do what you see for yourself. Don't make the Kamba who couldn't see it for you. The Mau Mau did not matter who was not in the fight. There were people called Wasaliti and the bootlickers of the colonial days, Gati. But they are not in the annals of history now. The Mau Mau fighters are. Do you?
Okay, Wagwan.
This guy is calling himself Momboy Limo. What's up? You know, these days I'm staying away from that honorable title that you give yourselves.
Hello, Bwana Kibe.
What's up?
Good morning.
Easy. Talk to me.
Okay. So I see there is a lot of fear being sparked by this abduction thing, and it seems that these are people who are just conmen. They are trying to fool the whole country because I saw the yesterday nini thing. Huyu jamaa anaitwa nani Kibe, mtu anatoka na kwenda to the matanga, disco matanga, and you want to tell us that ulikuwa abducted. Sura imekuwa safi, we unakaa mtu amekuwa sawa tu, then you want to just win some sympathy. It seems there's somebody who is financing these people, and is trying to win the sympathy of many people by doing all these conundrums. If this is the way to go, then this country won't be changed by the Gen Zs. Let me be clear, because what I know is that Ruto is not a fearful man. That guy is fearless and he has a plan. So if Gen Zs are to change, then we're gonna fight in a planned thing. It is not just that. Naona hata hawa wajamaa wanakaa watu hawaendi mahali, because the other time huyu jamaa anaitwa Makore huyo alikuwa the other side, now he's in the government. So it seems that kuna interest some Gen Zs nini leaders wanajaribu kujitafutia. So like they are all making some dramas hapa such that to blindfold the people. But if Gen Zs had a plan like the Mau Mau leaders kama kina Matiba, they will go far. But now they have brains but still hawana hiyo wisdom. These guys hawana wisdom and they don't want to listen. Yeah? They see that they are much better or they are schooled. So like nobody will just neglect them or like kuna mtu atawazuia, unaona. But as I listen to you Kibe, when you were talking, ulisema these people need to build themselves first. That's it. Lazima ujibuild before you be into these things, because usipojibuild utapatikana tu you are just rushing for your interest, like we ni mtu tu utadanganywa na pesa, and at the end that is the end of the movement, unaona. But because the old guys walikuwa na hiyo wealth, at least they had knowledge, wisdom, and that's why you see them, they fought for a long time. But these guys, they would be weaponized. What I know it will be that Ruta hata take that thing equal easy. You know, Ruto is not a man who fears. This guy is resilient. So, Bwana Kibe, try to to teach these guys. They are bringing even emotions into this Nini platform. While you are not holding it for us to, to argue that in a wrong direction, like tunataka kushindana ama kuongea like uonyeshe uko na view unataka kusikiliwa sana. Wote tutasikia, lakini pia usikie za wengine, unaona? So like Kibe, you are trying to bring something that will help these guys waku experience mahali they get views and opinion, your opinion. Unaona, you have good opinions like that can make us be better. So I think it is high time this conmen like na Kibe waache hiyo mchezo. If it is fighting for the good governance, then we should have a direction. We should have a plan, not just fighting like we are going nowhere. Sasa unaona mpaka maandamano, sometimes you see them kama hiyo ya juzi, it was maandamano that it was not planned like, and if it was planned then haikuwa inaenda anywhere, unaona. So that's what I got for today, Kibe. Maybe the next time I will give my view also. I thank you guys for listening, and I will be there to listen you too.
Thank you, thank you. Oh, man. Hey. Let me tell you, do not ever undervalue or underestimate experience. Yesterday, I was playing pool somewhere, and this guy, my cue stick had a. Every time I played the ball, there was a noise it was making. So there's a guy who, Honorable, just mute your mic. So there's a guy who was there, and he says, "I can fix this for you, and it will only cost you 1,000 bob." So I tell him, "No problem, let's do it." So he tells me, "But don't question how long it takes me to fix it, because I'm very experienced. You might think it's a very small job, but it takes me a very short time to fix it. But it's a problem that is, it was a major problem for me." So he had to remind me to do it. That is not a big job. It will take somebody else probably. I mean, you understand what I'm saying. So even the first thing that Gen Z have to do, if indeed they have a problem, first submit themselves to the will of somebody else, like a teacher. You have to submit yourself to a teacher. If you don't submit yourself to a teacher, the teacher cannot teach you anything. It doesn't matter how good the teacher is. It doesn't matter how good the teacher is. He can be the best teacher in the world. You will learn nothing. So Gen Z, the first thing they must do is realize that they were played in their upbringing. They were lied to. The man is not their enemy. Once you guys understand that, then it's easy to operate, because now you can listen to us. A voice of a man is so. That's why even Gaito has to sound and look like a woman for them to listen to him. If he ever displayed any masculinity, no, they're not going to listen to him. So this Gen Z movement, if there is indeed a real movement, then you guys have to submit yourself under the leadership of someone. And if you cannot do that, then there's nothing, there's no movement. What you will do is you'll be weaponized by people all through. Every now and then somebody comes, they weaponize you, they go get their seat. They weaponize you, they go get an ambassador. They weaponize you because your outrage is just ready for the taking. You can even hear Nubian King here. Nubian King, who is in the army, in the US Army. He knows the process of getting there. There is no shortcut in the army. They
Point
cannot
of
afford it.
correction, Marines.
It
Marines, I
doesn't
mean the
fucking matter,
Marines.
bro. It doesn't matter. That's potato. That's for you. It's not for me. There is no shortcut in the Marines. There's no shortcut in the army. They cannot afford it. They know what it means. Nubian King, do you know what it means for a shortcut in the army or in the Marines, wherever you are?
There's no shortcut, my nigga.
If there was a shortcut, it could mean death for very many people. It could mean a total annihilation of an army, of a country. How dare you guys want a shortcut? Who are these people you're giving all your time to? Credentials zao ziko wapi? Pia nyinyi mjue mko na upuzi. Isn't that how you were hijacked? Ile time mlienda mkapeana, you gave all your will to Osama. Mkasema sasa Osama is our leader. Akaenda akaanza kuuliza president swali za ujinga. Stupid motherfuckers. Anthony,
Yes, man. Hi, Kibe.
what's up?
I'm good, man. You know, I agree with everything you're saying. I remember when we started this process, I kept on telling guys, we are the generation that is so informed because we have so many things informing us, but we make some very stupid mistakes. And I say stupid it's a conversation because people tend to take things personal. So let me bring you to light. I started telling guys, there's no way one generation can change a regime. Junyini, all of us are fixated on the same information. If you really want to change something, you need the old, you need the very old people, the middle and the young. And I told people, look at the Mau Mau. Kenyatta was amongst the oldest guys in the freedom fight. But the people who were in the forest, these guys who fought for freedom, were young guys. They were just new guys who have just come from circumcision. That's the reason when we got independence, when the Momo were coming from the forest, you could tell Kenyatta was older. But why did the colonialists settle on Kenyatta? Because they wanted someone who looked old. They wanted the father of a nation. But as this movement thing, we couldn't grasp that. You need the wisdom of the old. And I'll give an example. When we were doing the Adani case with Tony Gashoka, people will say everything about Tony Gashoka. But you sit with that man and he can analyze politics in a way none of us can do it. Like, we would want to do something and Gashoka would say, wait, because I think next week the president or this and this will happen. My friend, whatever he said happens. He would even tell you, if we make this move now, this and this will happen. In that entire process of doing the Adani case, I ended up meeting Kalonzo Musyoka in his office in Karen. Then I met Eugene Wamalwa. Then I met Jeremiah Keoni. And you sit with these guys and you realize they are
And Madakarwa.
Madakarwa, we were on a phone call. And you see, and I can tell you everything about all these guys, but you realize that politics is chess. But one of the things I did, I never took a photo with any of them. I remember even when I met Kalonzo, he asked, guys were taking photos, he asked me, do you want a photograph? And I said, no. He asked me, like he was puzzled. You could see he was like, what? And he asked me why. I said, because I'm not here for a photo. I'm here because I want us to have a balanced conversation between you and me. And he told me, you know what? Come into my office. And I told him, here we have a country of young people who are not asking for much. They just want change. Now, and I told him, I'll be very frank with you. You came into the Adani case because it gives you political mileage. You became the face of it. Because we couldn't afford to pay the lawyer, I'll be very honest. But if you ask Kenyans who are online saying we want to save JKIA, if you ask them to contribute to the legal fee, they don't. So we had to get a lawyer. And that's how I ended up talking to Kibe Muigai. Then we came up with Degwanjiro. So Kibe Muigai brought in the Mount Kenya jurist. Then he brought in Ngatia, Senior Counsel Ngatia. Okay? And when you look at all this, upon your Kibe, that's where I realized the Gen Z movement is more focused on being popular than liberating a country. Because if you task them to do the hard work, you tell them focus on one thing, score one win, then that win becomes a ripple effect. You tell them to contribute to legal fee. For you who's in Kenya fighting, you're actually live on a court and the proceedings are live in the country. They'll not do that. Amenya asks for the same legal fee. He's in France. Nigga raised close to 500,000. So upon you realize, the Gen Z were looking for clout chasing. Like, who has the biggest clout? We don't know Anthony, but we know Amenya. So let's send money to him in France, and the guy is being represented, and I have nothing against him, but the lawyer who represents this guy, Jimmy Wanjigi, had said he will represent Amenya. So I'm like, if this guy already has representation for free, pro bono here, but you're more eager to send him money for a case that is not even about saving your JKIA. That's a case about sijui alitukana nani. But on the case that is about to save your JKIA, you guys are sending, I think the most I received in that entire thing was 25 Gs. And I paid the lawyer. And after that, the Kalonzo said, you know what, I'll represent you for free. And I told me, it's because I'm giving you, I made you you became the face of the fight, you and Eugene and everyone. So if we guys want to change this country, it's not that we can't change it. But we need to realize one thing, that governance is a negotiation. You have old guys who felt at some point we had figured out and we were a threat to them. That was the point for us to be on the table. But we miscalculated ourselves. We thought that we can fight it out and win. Guys, the guys who went to the forest for independence were governed by the Kenyatta and Congo Karumbas who went to the table and negotiated. Change is always negotiated. It is not fought out. You can never obliterate your oppressor. He has figured you out and he has the monopoly of power. Today we want to do away with Ruto. And I used to hear guys, you know, I used to look at people typing and they're saying, let's demonstrate close to the barracks so that we know if the army is with us. The army does not work on emotions. You can't play an emotional game on them. They work on logic. You ask yourself, why do you think Kenya has over 5, you know, we have the Kenya Forest, we have the Kenya Police, we have the AP, we have the Kenya Navy, we have, all those. It's because at no one time will all these functions of the army speak in one voice. The loyalty of each of those things is deep interdependent. So guys, if we want to really win this thing, we need to have what is called a war room. Have people like Kibe, someone who tells you, don't bring this emotional thing here. Let's think logically. So we want to win, yes. Now this is how you win. You win by being able to have the chance to legislate, to write the laws that will govern you. And I remember telling young guys, the people who were slaves in the US had tried for years, then black people had tried for years to fight their white masters. But their white masters had beaten them into submission. It is until those guys discovered, what if we stop fighting physically and we start fighting intellectually? And they only started winning when they understood how the white man thinks. And you do that by doing what Kibe is saying. Submit yourself to learn first. You don't have to like the guy. You just have to let him mentor you. He'll teach you how to think. So the only way you learn from politics is through politicians. Go into a system that teaches you how politics works, how people negotiate, how people tell you, you want this, give me this. And then we also acknowledge that change is a gradual process. It's like, it's an osmosis. You just don't change a country in a month. It takes years. So submit yourself to an elective thing. Yes, you'll have more bad people winning, but you also must not lose hope because you have fewer good people who represent your thoughts coming in. That's the reason you have people who rebel that's the reason you guys right now are idolizing Okiya Mtata. But Okiya Mtata tried to fight on the street. It wasn't working for him. He figured out he needs to be part of the system. And that's why Okiya Mtata went through an elective process and ended up as a senator. Now Okiya Mtata is saying, I want to go through another elective process and I might be president. But when Okiya Mtata is following the process, he's telling you young people, do not form a political party, do not align to a political party. And that is what Kibe is saying. He's weaponizing your anger. Meaning, he wants to allow you to remain dysfunctional, but he remembers you have a vote. So what will happen? Okiya Mtata will end up being a presidential candidate, whether he wins or not, but you built his profile. So why can't we build our profile? Why can't you say, go the South African way and say, this is our Julius Malema, and we want him, first of all, to give us a structure. This is our Secretary General, this is our Treasurer, this is our Chairman, this is our caucus that you write for us, our education policy and all that. So give us your shadow government. Then let us start discussing ideas. But you guys you have those, Kibe used to call it dopamine, that you want to sound popular by saying, we are going to the street. What does the street write? It writes no legislation. It does not write your medical needs. It does not write anything about your need for employment. Yet, if you have a system that tells us, when we talk about employment, this is what we want. When we talk about interns getting paid in all sectors of government, not just doctors, because in all government structure, there's a facility for interns, and most of those interns are not paid. So why can't you say we want all interns, not doctors, all interns in all cadres to be given a stipend? It should not be that they are there for free. So that as they get the skills to work, they also get the skills to manage their money. That is the conversation as young people we need to be having. We need to be having a 360 fight, but we must agree. We will need to humble ourselves and know that politics is a game and governance only comes through a political process. And we learn from people. So when George comes and tells you about the history and is teaching us something, oh, you want to beat George. Oh, George is a sellout. This problem of, and then you want to idolize Miguna. Miguna has been a political pundit all his life. The guy formed ODM, the guy formed the Orange Democratic Party. It was Miguna who actually was hiring Raila Odinga. So Miguna agrees that there's a political process to something, but comes and he's the one who came up with this thing, a revolution. Let's say Miguna cannot fly into the country, but his daughter can, his wife can. So as he's leading you in telling you go to the
Miguna was here to congratulate Ruto when Ruto
exactly.
won.
So I was asking these people, so why is Miguna telling you to go to the street? Yet he's in Canada. That's number one. Now, of all the 69 guys who died, none of them came from a wealthy family. That's the other thing that pisses me off. That you guys are not seeing you're making so many mothers bereaved as you fight this stupid thing. Do you know no one can kill you when you fight them intellectually? Ruto, no one. In fact, you gain respect when you fight an intellectual fight. I wish we could come on this space.
Anthony, maliza hiyo ni lecture yako.
So sasa tukuje kwa space, Kibe, and let's do what US did. Let us make a president. The Democrats said Trump won because he figured out one thing. Twitter and social spaces is where the action at, because everyone today on the planet has a mobile phone on their hands. Can we use this time to win instead of, I mean, how stupid are we? Tumekuwa tukiongea kwenda kwa lami from June 25th. It's not working. Can we change? Thank you, Kibe.
Thank you, Anthony, for those nice sentiments. George, before you come in, Peter Kipkoech, are you there?
Yes, Mr. Kibe, I'm here, and it's an honor to be on this platform with great men like you and
Great men, see you.
George.
And then you keep your submission short. I'm trying to finish up, so I have somewhere I need to be, and I want to hear from you.
Yes, actually, I'm just gonna keep it short. Just to say one thing about the Gen Zs calling themselves these Gen Zs. We talked to them. We tried. I tried talking to a few of close friends that I had about how to fight and how to manage such issues about mandamanos and everything, and everybody seemed to be all on hype, like they're just on steroids. And I really appreciate the last presenter who just talked, and things have to be fought. Such fights have to be fought intellectually. Si vitu za kuweka moods, unaweka unaweka makenda mbele tio nini. Vitu zingine, fight zingine ni za kufight na minds. Na watu wengine naona wanaanza kuona huyo Kasamweli ama sijui anaitwa nani, wanaona kama ni sell out juu anajaribu kuingia the right direction. You can only fight a bad regime through a due process. For example, Kasamuel has realized fighting in the street is the wrong direction. The only way you can fight a bad regime is trying to learn from them. Ndio maana tunaona mtu kama anaanza kuingia in a direction, a political direction, such that akishaingia ndani ndio anaweza akona power and at least akona chance ya kuimplement something enye anaona it's more it's tangible. There's nothing comes out of the street. It's only death and blood and bloodshed. And going through the due process, the last speaker ameongea, going through the due process ya kutafuta elective position, once umeingia ndani, that's when everything comes out. And the last thing I can say is that these streets pia haitaki akili mingi saa ingine. People, for example, people like Sudi, people like Joho, it needs the political space need street smart people. It does. Gen Z wanajiona wamesoma sana, wanajiona wako na degrees, but sometimes political processes need street smart people, and the only way to gain street smart ideas is through mentorship. Kusikiza watu kama Kibe, kusikiza wase kama kina Ike Watson, na appreciate sana wase. I have been following them for years, even before when I was still in Kenya. I used to follow them. I used to nawasikiza, and I really learned a lot from them. But Gen Z ukisikiza ukuambia, the only way you can do some things is just listen to the elders, follow advice tu kidogo, but wanaona ni kama wamemea pembe sana, wanaona fight is the only thing to do is just kutupa mawe. You cannot win a war. Fighting Ruto with mawe is just like kumtupia kumsplashia maji. It will do him no harm. Let us just follow the due process. Let us gain ideas from mentors who have, and there are plenty of them out there. They can mentor us. If we want to bring change out here, let's listen to them. Let's appreciate na tukubali kufunzwa. Tukienda tu maandamano tu bila any idea of what is the end game. Or everything will come out with nothing. Will not have anything to gain. So I appreciate everything, and I'm still learning to appreciate everybody over here. I'm learning a lot, and thank you so much, Kibe, and appreciate. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Peter, for keeping it brief and giving us brilliant insights. Yeah.
Yep.
You know, there is once I used to do motivational speaking, and I met a guy who told me maybe Ali, you know this, in the hospitality industry, one training can change everything. Just one training, not two trainings. A simple training can change the way the people operate in that restaurant or that hotel. So training is extremely important, and being malleable is more important. That you are willing to learn at every stage of your life, every step you're willing to learn. Hakuna mtu anajua kila kitu, lakini wewe ukikuja ubisha block kichwa, When you come here and you've blocked your mind, then there's no learning happening. You're here to tell us. And as long as you're here to tell people, the older people are not going to listen to you. Why? Because you've not earned your stripes. Just like in the army or in the police force. You have to earn your stripes every time before you open your mouth. Why are you opening your mouth? Where did you get that opinion from? Where is the experience coming from? All right, thank you, Peter. Let me bring George, then Albo.
You know, it's even good that you let me wait until you say that point about malleability, because I was going to say Miguna is the embodiment of the future of Gen Zs. If we look at his path, it's exactly where the Gen Z's trajectory is taking them. Miguna was in government. Miguna was in government at the office of the prime minister with Raila Odinga. Then the only thing we remember about him trying to run for Nairobi governor is him screaming at Margaret Wanjiru, because he knows everything. He comes with his full head covered with an Allahu Akbar cup, because there is an injury there where he was attacked when he was stealing chicken in his village. That's what he covers there. He's not a Muslim. He's covered in that little that injury on his head. But he knows everything. Then he gets ejected from Kenya, get thrown out. He tried 3 times to come back to Kenya and he couldn't come up. One time he was stuck in Germany, I think, and he couldn't board the plane to Kenya. Then this president, this one here, had mercy on him, and they FedExed him a Kenyan passport to come to Kenya. Invited him to a public holiday to a public function, a government function at Uhuru Park. Brought him back into the fold. But what does Maguna do? What does Maguna do? He shit at the same people that had mercy on him when he had been thrown out. Now he's in Canada, jobless, depending on his first wife's upkeep and his 2 daughters' earnings from OnlyFans, with no future of ever coming back to Kenya. He keeps shooting himself in the foot. 72 years old Miguna is today's 27-year-old Gen Z. If you want to see how your future is going to look like, if you don't change, look at Miguna. An embarrassment to the human history. A perpetual loser.
God damn. Phoenix rising. Oh, before Phoenix comes in, let me bring in another senior counsel. Albo, keep it short. I'm trying to leave
Yeah,
this place. What's happening, Albo?
I'm good, man. I really wanted to, because yesterday I made a mistake of going to my inboxes. Apparently, I've been having quite a few since we've been doing these spaces. And I wanted to, my entire argument is based on this inbox that I got from this loser called Mau Mau Katangea. First, he starts, the buck stops with the president. Stop creation of an imaginary narrative. Your speculation still lacks backing. Stop gagging others to defend Kasongo. It's the role of government, even if it's Al-Shabaab. Sanitizing Kasongo regime is absurd. It's completely mind-bending. You're also a motherfucker idiot. You don't think you are Mr. Know Everything, nigga. Now, this is the general sentiment of most Gen Zers who are following these NGO-led protests and whatnot. Unfortunately, many of you think you know more than you do. You think you have more power than you do. And you think that those emotional outbursts you have with your mother in your house is how all of us are going to live. In fact, another one reading the comments here was saying that this space is useless because you've not invited the abductees or whatever the fuck. Now, a lot of what is going on these days is people thinking that they deserve or you must give them something. You don't know them, haven't built anything with them, but they demand that you give them. My friend Anthony earlier works lyrical about how to win. And you're putting this particular group of people saying these particular people will win. I will offer to you that there's absolutely no way this bunch of people will win anything. It's because they do not understand the basics of the game they're playing, and they think throwing tantrums and just you see them mtaani, shouting at his mother, shouting at everybody. He has nothing, but he thinks he owns everything. That's why they'll never, because they also never listen to anyone. They think they know. They haven't built anything, but they'll talk down to people who've built things. So there's this unearned arrogance there that Gen Z have. I already know where this is going because I've seen this numerous times before. But because they can't listen, they won't listen. I think it's good for them to go the Miguna way, as George had spoken earlier. Actually, I was one of Miguna's supporters when he was running for governor. The guy put me to work and never paid me. From there on, after that, he supports Ruto because Raila didn't do what he wanted. And then he stopped supporting both of them because they didn't do what he wanted. And you see, I remember when he was being kicked out at JKIA, Raila was trying to actually help the guy. But the guy kept on acting like he's the king of everything. No, listen, I'm the one. He keeps on doing that. And in my head, I was like, okay, dude, I actually thought you are a better candidate than most of these others, but what is this? Kwanza wapi dozangu? So as far as I'm concerned, he's just a noisemaker, which is exactly what the Gen Z people are. You're arrogant, you don't pay for anything, you don't buy any. You people don't understand your place. But you will keep on talking that I just decided you are content. You guys are content to me, and I will continue just telling you the truth. You guys have voted for Ruto and you took his money. Wait for 2027 and try again. Maybe you've learned something. You are not better than him. Stop pretending that you winning will somehow make things better. You're not better than him. You haven't shown to be better than him. I think that's enough for today. Cheers, guys.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Man, that analogy, George, you have given about the Gen Z and Miguna is so fucking accurate that I even got scared seeing myself as Miguna. I was like, shit, you mean that could be me just bitching for the rest of my life?
You guy, I ran away from that guy so fast. I could see it coming.
Man, that is, and you know, in all honesty, this guy campaigned for Ruto. Ruto gave him back his passport. He made him a
Yes.
Kenyan again.
He was going
brought
to put him in
back.
Gava, you guys. He was going to put him in Gava.
Yes, he offered him a position.
He offered him a position. His main position was to counter Raila.
So now, even with that, I mean, even the laws of men, forget laws of anybody else, forget the outrage everybody has. In the laws of men, what does that mean? In the laws of men. So you're an anarchist. All you want is anarchy. You don't want to hear anything. It's like when a child starts, when you're talking to somebody. Do you remember when you were kids and you talk to someone? Like my sister used to do this thing and I used to hate it. We're trying to have a reasonable conversation and then starts doing because she doesn't want me to put my point across. Remember that shit?
Yeah. Blah blah blah. Then you
Blah blah
fudika
blah.
your
And
ears.
she's closed her ears because she knows I have a point. And if she listens to that point, then her whole mindset changes. But she does not want to change her mindset.
Boss, that is Gen Z, these protesters to a T.
They don't want to listen. They want to ban because they're in pain. So yesterday I told guys, hey, unless you guys forgive your fathers for not being in your lives, forgive your mothers for chasing away your fathers, unless you completely forgive this weakness that has engulfed our country, then all we're ever going to see is anarchy. and you're going to be weaponized and be left with nothing. Many of you are going to die. Because that anarchy cannot be, it has to be controlled. It cannot be let just loose like that. It has to be controlled. Now, these conmen who have done this thing is the same conman like Osama. Remember when Osama conned the whole of X? It's the same con game. You're going nowhere with this shit. All right. Thank you, Albo. Phoenix, what do you have to say?
Hi Kibe,
What's up?
habari zenu nyinyi wote, mko fiti? So I've been listening pole pole to today. I didn't want to say much, and I think I have just one thing to say. If you remember when we were young, we constantly had this story of the legendary boy who used to shout, "Oh, the hyena is killing me! It is attacking me!" And the villagers would actually rush to him. Wanafika is just playing around. He kept doing that over and over, and eventually the villagers could no longer respond. What happened to that boy? When the hyena actually came, he was swallowed, eaten alive, because the villagers did not respond to his usual games. That is exactly what Gen Z are doing with these abductions. These abduction stories and these maandamano things that no longer make sense to any grown up. Sisi villagers tutasema hiyo ni kelele zao za kawaida. They will not bring any reform into this country as much as because they're making noise. Mali tumefika saizi tunawaangalia tunashindwa. Nani anasemanga? George keeps saying, what can anyone who hasn't built anything tell me or lead me to? He kept saying that. What can Gen Z who don't know anything about building anything, no skill, no experience, no knowledge, no depth about anything, no depth about politics, hao ndio wanataka kutuambia mali tunaenda? They don't even understand history. Hata ukikutana na Gen Z kwa barabara umuulize huyu is Tomboya, they do not know him. Lakini utawapata kwa monument ya nini? Ya Tomboya. How did we come up with the Haile Selassie Road? They do not know. They have no clue. But they tell us they want to change Kenya. How? You have no skill, no experience, no knowledge, no depth. Even the constitution that they are talking about, I think they only know one part, ile ya kusema our rights. Oh, the constitution says this. Okay, the millennials who know a bit or two. But if you analyze vizuri, they would have, if they actually took time to analyze, they would have known we have a constitutional problem. The constitution that we have, which is actually the structure that we are using to actually run around in this country, has a problem. It has loopholes that need to be sealed. Government is a structure through which through which people get through a political process. Lazima upitie a political process to get into government, so that now you can be part of these people who do policies, the structure, who form the policies. You don't just do things on the streets and then you expect any difference. Haiwezekani. These are things that these people need to learn. And learning is a process. We are all students of life. Every other day you wake up, learn something, and then you realize you didn't know nothing. The more you learn, the more you realize you didn't know nothing and you want to learn more. But if you say you are not a student of life and you know everything, then you are an idiot on these streets. Sisi tutakuangalia tu mali imefika now. We ignore these Gen Zs. They just become migunas. Because utafanya nini? And then Miguna is there, anatumia, is actually using Gen Zs to massage his own trauma. He's 72 years old, for heaven's sake. He can't even write down ati nimefanya hii na hii, apart from being Raila's assistant. And now anajaribu kutumia these small kids with their fire, wanaka kama teenagers wenye wako na a lot of fire and they want to lead the country. Where are we headed? Watulie bwana. Watulie, we need a country. These kids need to wake up. And albo unajiuliza ati hao watoto wanamkanga saa ngapi? Wanaamka saa 6. They wake up to shake their asses on TikTok. They get likes. They compete who insults the other better than the other. Who said who, where, and why. They don't even have a life, for heaven's sake. They don't have a direction. They need to change. Otherwise, they'll become the migunas, like you said. I think I don't have much to say, but I'm just contributing to the conversation. But that is my thinking. To ignore to sasa. tumefika hapo. We can't continue like this. Thank you, Kibe.
Na leo mko na ubaya. Yeah. Who started this ubaya? Is it George ama ilikuwa ni caption?
Ni mayuto wanatukana watu mbaya, they act like they are everything. Hiyo ndio like, fine, we can have our issues with whatnot, but at some point you are trying to tell me to do who are you? They're trying to force the entire country to do what they want. That's not going to happen.
I wish hata wangekuwa na hata ka skill ama experience watuambie you should do this. They know nothing. Hakuna
Lakini
kitu wanajua.
hata kama una experience na nini, hata hawana do, they can't pay for services. Like, hii ni kelele gani tunasikiza sasa? Mtu tunalisha kwa nyumba pia ndio tunataka tusikize hapa kelele kwa politics? Possible.
Wewe bora utasalimiwa.
Nani amenisalimiwa?
Utasalimiwa na Gen Z. Nani ako na namba ya robot msalimie?
Watumie guys watume very fast.
Mimi by the way hata namba yangu iko out there. Please nisalimieni, I need the traction. Hii social media ni ngumu. Salimia mimi kabisa.
Captain Kimtai, Kimonges.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. So I wanted to rant, but I think Phoenix did that on my behalf. Nimekasirika sana hata mimi because of exactly what's going on. Not to mention that I'm also among the Gen Zs, but I'm so much disappointed by the generation that we are raising, a lazy generation who thinks we deserves everything when actually most deserves nothing. We are living in my generation is living in a state called self-actualization. The whites are already living in self-actualization because they have the resources, but unfortunately we are living in that state without the resources. Problem is because of the social media now, we need to bring closer. We have the same information. We want to live closer to the people, same as the way they're living, not knowing that before they arrived at self-actualization, they underwent processes. They created wealth. Walikuwa na every single thing wali go through so that when they now have the wealth, now they can live in this kind of state. Now they want to do something, they can do it because they got the resources. But Kenya, we are far from that. We are still in a state of wealth creation, job creation. We don't even have jobs. But we are for Miguna is a 72-year-old who has not achieved anything, not in family, not in work, not in anything. So he's actually trying to spread his anger to most of people like ourselves, okay? And now since we have been raised in a capitalistic world where we have, we've been meant to have anger on everything. Like now, if you want to grow fast in Kenya or be celebrated, you have to do something bad. One, abuse, let's say Kasongo. Number two, sell pornography or sell assets online. Oh my God, in a few weeks, you'll have millions of followers, millions of support. But if you come and say, oh, I need this, so you put things straight, you do good content, very good content. For instance, let me say you're a medic and you're doing medical stuff content, you're doing what we call MMF, these money market funds. Nobody cares about you, nobody follows you. But if you start doing something bad, all of a sudden everybody follows you. And then two, if you celebrate, you're achieving greats, people will just find some stupid stuff from you. Okay, from you. But if you're doing something wrong, then you have all the attention of the world and they envy you. They celebrate you. They want to be like you. I don't know how. So I think everybody, so many of these Gen Zs expected to have more this time, and none of them is willing to put in work. So they now want everybody to fail like them. They are very angry at people that are trying to achieve stuff that they didn't. But sad enough is that we will run, we will do all these kinds of stuff, and then soon we will be 40 and 45, and now then it starts to hit us that, oh my God, I'm at this age. I have nothing. I have no family. I have no if that's supposed to if that's their target. I have no money. I have no wealth. Then we start doing all kind of sorts because the only thing that Gen Zs, my fellow Gen Zs are good at now is one abusing everybody, two beating women, three increasing homosexuality and blah 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 and stuff, and three stealing everywhere, including abroad. Here we are abroad. Some people don't even want to work with Kenyans because Kenyans go there and steal from them. We even work in restaurant and steal food, work in office and steal stuff. So that's the kind of a society we have raised. And like normally I do say, I don't think this generation will help us. I think maybe like 100 years time we may have a better Kenya, but for now we'll have to live with what we burden of their failure. The saddest part is this Kenya will really grow backwards because apart from the fact that we do not have a conducive or let's say our economic our environment is not so good for business yet. I'm not saying it's so bad, but I'm not saying it's so good. Also, this disruption. You think businessmen are gonna come and invest in when every day you have to close your business, you have to do what? Somebody is gonna steal from you. So, and there's a peaceful country like Tanzania. There's a more hospitable country like Uganda. People will just and there's more a better country like Ethiopia where people like follow orders. So people will soon ignore Kenya, and the only thing we will remain with is good English and good number one in the world using of X because we want to abuse people. So soon we'll be going backwards and backwards and backwards, and then maybe in the future we'll be slaves. So we'll be going to wash dishes in Tanzania and Uganda when they should be doing the same for us in the future, wherever. So. And then we are also creating, these politicians are using these Gen Zs to create a country that even them cannot govern it because these people will bring you down in 1 second. Today they'll celebrate you and put you there and kick out Kasongo, but then you are the next animal. So it's nothing to celebrate. This is something that everybody should come together and say, come on, no, we cannot do it like this. And I realized I am actually starting to rethink my stand on freedom of speech because every country now with so much freedom is failing. Look at Canada the other day. Look at now Britain. They have so much problem. Look at the US. Like everywhere, there's this so much stupidity about freedom of speech. There is a very big problem. But now we are praising Rwanda. They don't have that kind of freedom of speech. Look at China. They don't have this kind of nonsense of freedom of speech. Look at South Korea with their freedom of speech. Look at what is happening there. So I'm actually really thinking that maybe we do not need so much freedom of speech, or maybe there should be a clear definition of what this freedom of speech or freedom of expression it is, because we are turning our country upside down. So sorry for that's saying much, but that's from me today.
No, you've given a very good submission. Don't be sorry about it, my guy. Take out that apology from your mouth.
I withdraw my apology.
Yes. Be clear when you say it. Say it with your chest, because these people need to hear it. They need to hear
Kibe,
it.
can I add something on what Leroy said?
Ngoja kidogo tu. And you see, this thing you talked about stealing. Stealing is only tolerated by women. Stealing is only tolerated. Bro, if my son was to be rude to somebody when I'm in my presence, it doesn't matter how old he is. Oh my goodness, that's World War III, my guy. How dare you? Because not only are you disrespecting that guy, you're disrespecting me. How can we allow our people in our country to disrespect the old? Meaning at some point you're going to kill them. If you're stealing from them, what makes you think you can't kill them? You've seen that in America. These people who are, these kids who are shooting up the schools, who do you think they shoot up first before they leave the house? Captain na George mnaweza niambia nyinyi mko America. Who do they shoot first before they leave the house? It is mama or grandma. Those are the two casualties of war before they leave the digs. Go ahead, Phoenix.
Thank you. I just wanted to add to what Leroy said. He talked about these Gen Zs, how they are using their platforms. I saw a Gen Z actually post something about tourism, Makandika, that we need to make Kenya so insecure and tell the tourists coming to this country, Kenya is very insecure, and your Ruto anguke. You look at them and wonder, how stupid are you? Yani, you want to bring down the tourism industry in this country so that Ruto feels what exactly? Ruto atatoka tu ataretire eventually and he will just be fine. He's made enough money. What do you mean you're going to hurt Ruto by hurting the industry? These kids are fools. They're just pathetic. And then this democracy thing, I also wanted to highlight that I also understand and I believe what Kibe keeps saying. Any bullshit. Democracy is just overrated. It is stupid. It makes people more stupid. This freedom of speech in Wanasema, it doesn't guarantee the freedom after the speech. It doesn't. You will just, the energy that you give to nature will come back to you. Huh? Down pressed. Eh? Yani overflowing, zita come back. So when you think that you are giving this anger towards Mother Nature, this inakupatia the energy of life, but then you give it anger, you push it negative energy. What it does, it will just come back to you eventually. Even if not today, kesho ama kesho kutwa, you will pay. You just can't do these things and think that you'll just go scot-free. Time to pay will come. It will come. Hata hii demonstrations yenye mumeran over the last 6 months, it is going to eat into our economy. Hata kama hatutaifeel saizi, in the next pengine 1 year, we are going to feel it. And you will understand what we keep saying. There's no need to destabilize the country. Work your ass off. Build something. Use your brains to redirect it to something constructive. Be something yourself. Thank you.
By the way, just to add on that, there's, just as ingine people think we are attacking an entire people. There are these few, the activist class, who've already been indoctrinated into the bullshit. On Sundays and Saturdays, these days, even every day, when I go to town, all I'm seeing is young people trying to make money with their cameras, their nini, they're doing content, they're dancing. Those are the important ones because they understand the importance of working hard and gaining experience and being able to fend for yourself. But there is this activist class that is following these morons wakina, this fat fuck Gaido and Boniface Mwangi and all these people. They don't understand that these people have already been primed and been paid for. You are the cannon fodder. So they are those people, because as Maramingi, because I've also dealt with quite a number of Gen Zs. In fact, there are 2 guys I met yesterday. These days I meet people who know me more and more. Maybe ka video moja kametembea. But there's a guy who said hi to me just near my studio here. Ananiambia, hey, mazee albo, mazee nilikusikiza kwa space, mazee go on like that. These are young guys. Many of them are looking for direction because their fathers failed. The problem, this anger you are seeing out here, it was brought by their fathers who didn't show up and their home mothers. So we have to deal with it politically also because so many people didn't do their jobs. But there are many, many young people, and I would argue the majority, that actually know what's up, that are trying to make things better for themselves. They're trying to work hard, trying to learn things, but they have absolutely no direction. If I remember my head when I was 19, 20, 21, I was all over the place, but I had this strong man and a very compassionate woman next to me who made sure that I didn't go off the rails too much and at least kept my mind intact. Most of these guys don't have that. And I think sometimes, unajua saa zingine, because these are also our people, whichever way you want to look at it, we have to fireburn the activist class. Those are the corrupted minds because they're also very pretentious. And they also, hawa ndio wezi. They just want their chance at the government. Hakuna kitu ingine. What they are doing right now is they also want a chance to enter in there and steal. Because when they have a chance out here, you see wamejaa, hawa ndio they're the ones who are being used to take drugs around the city. They're the ones who are doing the worst things on this society hapa kwa street. Hao ndio wanalipwa nao watu wa wash kufanya all kinds of shit. Some of these people you're seeing abducted ni vile walishika pesa ya mtu wash na hizi wanajifaita ma crypto bros. Those are not crypto bros. Those are conduits for money laundering. So there are many things to think. So there is good people here. There's a lot of stupid old people my age who've also refused to build things, so that there's the natural transgression of people coming to take over and building on top of that. So maybe some more food for thought there.
Albert, it's
Yes.
Farah here, and I agree with everything you've said, but I look at it from a different perspective. Yes, we have failing homes which lead to a failing society, but we had there's a different space. I don't know if you were part of it, where Andrew was still hosting, and I explained there's an Algerian historian called Ibn Khaldun. He argues that oppression heralds the destruction of a civilization. And let me take you through the thought of chain, whereby when you have rulers who and leaders who, in whatever capacity, they do not even have to be political leaders, but even wazee wa kijiji wa zamani. If you have leaders who oppress their people, whereby today Andrew si ana host space hapa, ukisema kitu yote ana disagree na wewe anakutoa. That means, for instance, you as Albert, kidogo Albert,
Ashanifanyia hivyo na bado tuko
ni
pamoja.
sawa, ni sawa. What I'm trying to say is, for instance, you as Albert, you're in the film and whatever industry. You become successful, you create the universal of Africa, for instance. And then the people in authority take all of that away. What happens to the rest of society? Sisi watu wengine, there are two things that happen. First, wale watu wa kawaida, they stop becoming ambitious, because kama Albert anaweza akaachieve yote na ichukuliwe yote, why should we strive for this? And this is very evident in the recent case of the takeover of where the Savannah guy wanted to buy Bamburi for 27 billion, but he was arrested and alisumbuliwa mpaka it was taken over for 20 billion from a Tanzanian company. The other thing that happens is you have a brain drain, whereby the people who are still ambitious, the Kinakibes, the Alberts, who still want to achieve greatness, they leave your economy, whereby they do not, where they get out of this overarching ceiling, whereby anytime you get there, it can all be taken away. So the long-term effect of this happening is, once you have a brain drain, the people who are smart enough to create jobs and create companies, they leave. So there are no more companies, meaning there's less revenue, less taxes, less development, less infrastructure. And if you include that with absent citizenry, active citizenry, and corruption, inakuwa ni shida bala.
Farah, just a point of correction. You see, there are two types of people on the planet. They are takers and they are losers. Now, and I respect you. I respect your chain of thought. But what you're describing is a loser. And I'll give you facts. From when you guys, this Mandamano thing started, winners don't quit. They always see the opportunity. Do you know we have more investors from Tanzania and Uganda and Dubai and China who have come into Kenya this year? You know, those are the things people are not told. We have more investors from Tanzania, Uganda, and China and Dubai in Kenya today than there were last year. Okay, that's one fact you need. And it's
Anthony.
no,
Anthony.
I don't want to. I want you to be very factual. When you talk
agree.
about
No
brain
problem,
drain,
but I've given you both scenarios of
okay,
somebody who is willing to give up, where they will not they will no longer want to be as ambitious as the example I was using is Albert. They will no longer want to be as ambitious as him. That's why unapata we have more bases za jaba and stories za jaba. You have people going to drugs and society degrading in general. Then the other scenario,
Farah, there's something called
Phoenix,
natural
Phoenix.
selection.
The other option is those who are still ambitious enough leave, whereby you start believing in foreign investment. Because, for instance, what we need to develop JKIA is 78 billion Kenya shillings. If we decided to raise that money as Kenyans, each individual Kenyan anafaa kutoa shilingi 1393. But because
I've had that
yes, I
argument
understand,
before.
Albert.
It's
I understand.
it,
Let
it,
me let me.
it yeah it's
Wacha nimalize kitu
there's
nasema.
no unity. Clara, just I get you. I'm just saying there's no that level of unity of purpose, because the thing is, how many people, for example, who use the airport as Kenyans? Is it even 10%? Is it even
Sawa,
5%?
Albert.
But you're
The
going
other
to ask
option
the
is
other 95% to pay for something they
if
don't
all
use.
Kenyans cannot contribute or are not even willing to contribute, create a consortium
Yes,
and give
the
us
government,
Caesar.
the government should just, you
Let us
see, the
buy
government
shares
has
into
been
it.
running that place for
Let us buy
decades.
shares into it and have
Yes, no,
maybe nisikize.
listen, the government has been running that place for decades. It's the one that has poured in the initial money, all the investment initially. The government is us. It's already been done. We don't need to again to dig into our pockets and do it. If they have been unable to manage the place, let someone else do it. It's that simple. I'm not willing to let government to continue being
Albert,
misappropriating, being inefficient. This
the
is all
point
the
the
bullshit.
point
And
sio
no,
sio
I'm
kuraise
just telling
money.
you,
The
as
point
far
is
as
to
I'm
make sure
concerned.
that we understand how simple it is if we decided to develop this country as us.
Yeah, building is not simple. Building takes so much. This is the thing I'm trying to explain to so many Gen Zers. Building is so difficult because the process that it takes for you to get to position to be able to build. You understand? It's really something else. You need to understand how that works. It's not an overnight thing. It actually takes generations.
I don't disagree with you completely. Na kuna mahali najenga sahi na yenyewe ni ukweli yako. But the truth is we need to start having a change of mentality whereby because if we have a change of mentality, the social contract we have amongst ourselves, the morality, the aibu, the what is wrong, the what is right, that comes back. And until we are ready to go back there, I'm very okay with. I totally agree with what Albert is saying. It might take generations, but once we have a change in mentality, kutoka mwananchi kuwa mwenye nchi, it might not take that long, because we will have unity of purpose, and the social contract amongst ourselves will hold us accountable.
You know,
You see,
Anthony and Farah. The one thing that I realized yesterday, and I've been very. Oh, Sheila, do you want to say something before we start to close this?
Yeah, I have been on pending for a very long time.
Oh,
Good
okay,
morning, everyone. Now,
just remain on pending because just hold up. Let me make another point. Just be on pending. Just mute here. So I realized yesterday that Trump has done more for this world by just being the president of the United States or by winning that election than when he was Trump. Funny thing, Andrew Tate is also going into politics. So the right people have to get into that position, my guy. If the system is that way, then the right people have to get there. We cannot come together as Kenyans to build JKIA. That's the work of the government. They're the ones who have to decide. If you have no trust in the government, get in there and do it yourself.
and
I remember when I was talking with the George. Oh, hold up, Farah. I was talking with the George, and I told him, you know what? I wonder why this government has not reached out to you. He told me, oh, I'm not interested. I told him, that's not the point. Why haven't they reached out to you? So the people who are going to build anything are the people who are strong, not these people who congregate together at Uhuru Park ama at inaitwaje ile ingine kwenda sijui Freedom Corner. These ones who come together. They are receiving their dopamine every day when they wake up and say, hey, I'm here to fix shit. Show us. Let me drop Sheila first until we can firsthand. I've seen it firsthand. I've seen firsthand people who know what they're doing. There's nothing. It's called a man crush. You get a man crush when you see someone doing the thing that they do best. You see Albo doing his editing, you're like, my God. You know, you can tell the amount of time this motherfucker has spent acquiring these skills. How are you just going to give it up for nothing? How are you going to give it up for emotions and say, oh, emotionally we can build? We cannot build shit. Where is the evidence? There is no evidence of what we've built. What is the evidence of what Miguna has built? Where is that evidence? Who is he to talk to us? Where is the evidence of Gaido? Fat fuck Gaido. What has he built? So we can't just be at you coming up with these nice solutions. You know, in Kenya, if we give 1,000 bob, no, that's not our responsibility. We have a government for that.
Andrew,
Yeah. So
my logic of skiza kidogo, my logic of bringing that up was sio kusema tunafaa kuchangisha, ni kuonesha that it is easy, it's not beyond us, haiko beyond us, neither is it something that we need
but
foreign
juzi
investment for.
sumumeletewa Adani mkakataa.
Yeah, exactly. Because if it's 78 billion that is required, it's not beyond us.
Mumeletewa Adani mkakataa. So you guys go build it yourselves. Nyinyi mshikane mwende mkabuild. There's nothing mlezaletewa sahi. You're going to scrutinize everything. You're going to go come up with bullshit arguments. Hakuna kitu mnaweza pewa sahi.
It's Andrew, it's not about
you are
bullshit
already
arguments.
you've already decided what you've decided.
We are arguing about two different things. Mimi hata siko hapo kwa serikali na nini siju kushindana nao. I need you to understand one thing. My problem is not with the government, because wao ni waizi na brokers who've gotten an opportunity to do what they can do best. Just as you've said, George is the best
No,
at
that is not
Nisikize
factual,
kidogo, Andrew.
Farah. That is not
No,
factual.
let me finish what I'm
No,
saying.
Farah, that's not factual.
Kidogo.
You cannot say the
Kidogo
problem with
ndugu yangu.
government. Hey,
Sawa,
Farah.
kidogo. Let me finish
Hakuna
with my
kidogo
chain of thought.
nakupatia. Hakuna kidogo nakupatia. You've made an erroneous statement. You said the
Sawa,
problem with government is that they are...
Hold me to account once I finish.
Farah, I'm not going to finish. We are stopping right there. You cannot make a statement that is erroneous and I allow you to go to continue. The problem is that we are not involved. The right people are not involved. There's no problem.
So,
Government.
that's exactly where I was going.
Yeah.
Because there's something called a social contract. Kabla hata tujafika kwa hii kuwa nchi kuwa serikali, there's a social contract between people as a populace within the state that hii ni sawa, hii ni mbaya. And from that social contract, you have institutions that emerge. And that is how a state is built, upon institutions that are backed by the social contract. Right now we have the EACC. Why? Because we understand that it is wrong to have corruption and all those things. But once the social contract is broken, it is upon the citizenry and us as a populace to stand up against it. And from this social, once you have a functioning social contract,
you're giving to failure. EACC has failed. That's a failed institution. It was a bad idea. It is a failed institution. The fact that we need to have EACC means that there is something extremely wrong with us. This is a con game. Stop being cons. We are cons. That's why we need EACC. EACC imeshika nani? EACC kazi yake ni kushika makarao. Police who are getting 50 bob by the roadside. So that's why we have EACC. All these institutions, all these NGOs need to be done away with. We need to only have 3 arms of government. Because of all these ideas that we have so many useless ideas that are taking us nowhere. So Farah, I think umeuma nje kidogo. You had a very good
No,
point at the
I
beginning.
realized we are saying the
Ngoja
same
ngoja,
thing, so I'm
acha
okay.
nikumalizie,
No, keep it. It's our.
I realized that you had a very good point at the beginning